2, 1. Are you ready?
Bro.
Oh, 3, 2, 1's your cue to go, homie.
Fucking dude's hyperventilating over there.
3, 2, 1's your cue. He's like 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Johnny, let's go.
We're recording already, my guy. Let's go.
All right, ready? 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of The Guys. I'm Luis, and with me always is Johnny, Chris, and Xavier.
What up?
How's everybody doing today?
Good, man.
So before we go around the horn and check in on everybody, I wanted to thank. Thanks a lot, Xavier. I wanted to thank our viewers.
You're doing a good job.
Hey, thank you. I wanted to thank our 6 viewers and encourage you guys to hit that like button right now. I have a goal of 28 likes.
Okay.
I'm trying to get some bragging. I'm trying to get some bragging rights here. So if you guys go ahead and hit that like button, get me to 28. I will be the most liked video that the guys have shot thus far.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Oh, that's
28 likes, that's it?
28 likes, that's it. Give me 28. Okay. So for those 6 of you guys that watch us religiously, create a couple fake accounts and hit that like button, please.
Get a couple burners.
Now, with that being said, how's everybody doing? Johnny, how you doing, my guy?
I'm good, dude. I had a great week. We had a consultant at our shop. It's a group called M5 Rows. They're really good, actually. They come in, they show you what's going on. Like, they go over metrics and stuff. They have data, and they go, hey, this is what you guys can improve on. Let's game plan. The guy I work with, his name is Joe. He does a really good job. He shows us some stuff, and we wrapped up our week. Pretty good week, and it was pretty fun. I enjoy when he stops by. I enjoy data and metrics and raw info like that. So it was pretty fun.
Nice.
You do like it raw, don't you, Johnny?
How you doing, Chris?
Tough week, like always. I think I say that pretty much every time.
Why is that, man? Jesus Christ.
Almost died. Pretty bad week.
I didn't die though.
There you go. There's a positive.
I'm happy to be here with y'all. Happy to rock the shirt. I haven't rocked it since we golfed in Half Moon Bay. And I'm happy because I got some dope ass kicks in yesterday, and that's why I had to freaking rock it.
Let's see the kicks.
Oh, and you had them ready. Stand by.
Yeah,
Oh, those are lit, dude. Hey, you guys know pink's my favorite color, like no joke.
Perfect
That's
with
hot.
the fit, you know?
Yeah, that's lit, dude.
Those are
You got the
fire.
pink and the blue. That's pretty raw.
Yeah.
Litty.
So I'm happy. I'm a happy man. I'm ready for this. It's gonna be good. Always good to hang out with y'all.
Xavier, how about you, my guy? Can you top that?
No. I had it was just a grind of a week. It was a grind week. Every day I was like getting ready to check out at 10:30 a.m., baby. And my day starts at 7. So I was just ready to check the fuck out immediately. But hey, you know what? That's what we do. We grind it out. We get through the week, we do the best that we can. So, I get this time to enjoy chilling with the boys and talking with you guys. So it's a good week.
Nice. Thanks for that soft toss, Zave. Because you're talking about grinding it out, and that kind of leads into the topic of discussion for today's episode, guys. Is I want to talk to you guys, and I want to get your guys' input on, grinding, right? Hustling, continuing to work, staying motivated, pushing through, and just continuing to succeed. Johnny, you bring up the 48 laws of power all the time, and you just recently released the Lost episode on that law. And one of the laws that you brought up is infection, avoid the unhappy and the unhappy. And I feel like this is kind of the opposite of that, right? Because I think the 3 of you guys kind of display the opposite of that, right? You guys are not the unlucky. You guys are always motivating. You guys are always pushing forward to succeed. And so, Johnny, I'm going to start with you. I want to get your input. What pushes you, right? We all have rough weeks. What pushes you to continue to do what you do?
Well, thanks for asking. First and foremost, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I wing it every single day I show up. I'm just like, is this happening? I was like, is this what are we doing? I have no idea what's going on. All I know is, like I mentioned earlier, is I have metrics. So I set goals. I'm like, hey, this is when I have to hit. And I like to identify, I want to say, weaknesses. I think I'm pretty good at operations management. I think almost any job I've had, that's kind of been my core role, is, managing operations. So I like to find, I don't want to say weak points, but I'll say opportunities. Like, I'm like, hey, this is something I think we can improve on, and it's something that's wholeheartedly manageable. It's something that I can control, and it's a controllable that I can fluctuate and I can kind of tinker with. So that's what I like to do. I like to set manageable goals where I can measure it, track it, observe it, and kind of hold myself accountable. Either it's daily, weekly, against the quarter, year over year, something like that. That's what I like to do. So that's how I measure stuff, and that's how I keep going.
Okay, and that's a great point. How does that translate to you, like on a personal level, right? Because I think the things that you just mentioned right now, we can do on a personal level at home.
Hmm.
With for you and myself, we have wife, kids. Chris, you have a daughter at home. How would you say that ability translates into succeeding on a personal level?
That, sir, is the $64,000 question, right? I mean, that's kind of one of our lost episodes that we had when we talked about success. What is success to each and every one of us? My ideal success, actually, maybe it was the end of the fatherhood episode where I mentioned it, is success to me is I enjoy coming home after the hard day, putting in my 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hour days, depending on, what's going on. And I want to come home, see my kids, see my girl, see everyone and be like, hey, give my daughter a hug, if whether I'm singing show tunes from Disney or something like that. That's what I enjoy doing. I like coming home, playing with toys with her, doing stuff like that, telling Jessica about my bananas day with customers and whatnot. But my boss, Luis, said it actually today. He was like, when we are going over measurables, one of the things he mentioned, he's like, it's pretty easy to, beat someone else's numbers at work, whether it's another store, another company, to beat their numbers. But one of the hardest things to do is, beat your own numbers, right? So you have your own expectations and your own goals. Can you beat where you've been at in the past year, the past month, or, something like that? So I try to make sure I set goals for my family. Like, I want to make sure my kids are comfy, my wife's comfy, make sure everyone's kind of taken care of. So that's it. I want to make sure that
I think,
go ahead.
Johnny, just like you said, like, hey, for your family, it's a little different for the goals that you're setting, right? Like, it's not like, hey, there's a number I got to hit. I have to have my kids like me at a level 10, right? Like, that's there. It's incomprehensible, for your family and personal stuff. But I think with I mean, you have to set goals in work, in personal life. You have to have a goal or something to reach for, to motivate to work harder for, to strive. In family, right? People make like, oh, I'm gonna lose weight. Well, if you don't have a fucking goal weight, like, you ain't fucking doing shit. Like, it doesn't mean anything unless you have like a true goal for it and what you want to hit or what you want to succeed.
Chris, that's a great point. No, you hit it right on the nose. I think it ties into what Johnny was talking about, metrics, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit. It's a little bit different with metrics when you're at home with the family, with your daughter. But yeah, to your point, personal goals as far as weight loss and things like that. Yeah, you want to set a goal. Xavier, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, what do you do? You're kind of the odd man out. I know we use that a lot. You're the only guy in the group without a family.
Jesus Christ, man.
You're the odd man.
Got pretty
You're the
dark
one that
there.
doesn't really have
Yeah.
anything. You have no family. Nobody loves you. What do you do? How do you do it?
How do you wake up every single day?
You know what I mean, my guy. Hey, how do you
Your
how do
fucking
you
parents
do it?
died. You're done. How do you do it? No.
How do you do it? Back alley done.
Thank you,
Finito.
brother. I appreciate you. I love talking to you guys. But no, funny that you mention it like that. I don't really do it for anybody but myself. I mean, I know it sounds selfish. Kind of sounds like an asshole thing to say, a douche thing to say. But who else am I going to do it for? I mean, I guess you always want to
Do it for Johnny.
provide a good example for your parents. Those that were sacrificed a lot before you. I mean, I'm a first generation.
Paisa?
Basically, my parents were both immigrants. You know what I mean? My mom came from Korea. My dad came from Mexico. Jalisco, Ameca. I mean, so I was. It doesn't seem like I would be the first generation here because my parents came over. My mom is extremely successful at in her career, but you kind of do it for them. But you also your main reasoning for doing stuff is for you, right? And even though I don't have a family of my own now, the things that I do now will help support my family in the future. Should I be lucky enough to have one like you three?
Sure.
So, I kind of take a lot of motivation from watching you, Luis, to be honest. And like, I kind of want to dig deeper into how you stay motivated. But, just watching you be successful in, I mean, basically everything you fucking touch, you son of a bitch. With I mean, dude, let's be honest. Like, we all come from some humble beginnings. So watching you get things done, it's inspiring to me because, like, I mean, man, I should be kicking it. My own ego is telling me you should be kicking ass, non-fucking stop. But I got to take some time to humble myself and watch those around me. I mean, not just you, Luis, but the other two guys that are on this call too. I mean, I watch you guys all the time. But I kind of wanted to dig into your psyche a little bit more and just kind of let everybody out there know what your motivation is and what you do to stay motivated.
Luis, let me just tag on that, and then I definitely want to hear your answer. I went and hung out and saw this dude's place, and his house is fucking beautiful. He's got a beautiful house, and the motivation from seeing him succeed, that got my whole mindset is now completely different. That is, I need to get a house. It was always a goal, but seeing that and seeing what you're doing has given extra motivation to me that, like, all right, you need to get your fucking shit together for reals, make this a priority and get a fucking spot.
Well,
Sure.
I appreciate that, guys. Just to kind of answer your guys' question is, my main motivation has been my dad. I don't want to go into, like, the sappy, sad story and whatnot, but my dad raised me and my sister, but on top of that, this man, took care of his siblings, and I've always kind of grown up thinking, like, I only have he had 7 brothers and sisters total. Um, I grew up with just my sister, so I've always grown up with the thought of that I have to be able to provide. If this man that raised me, that worked 365 days a year, 7 days a week, can take care of me and my sister, his siblings, his parents, I should be able to take care of my 2 kids and my wife. Like, that's not even, that shouldn't even be difficult for me to accomplish. And the ways that I do that is, like, have you guys talked about, making decisions with my wife to purchase a house. We had to make the decision to leave the Bay Area, because if we wanted a house, it wasn't going to happen in the Bay Area. So that for me, that's what it is. It's me trying to live up to this image that my father created in my mind of how I need to take responsibility for those around me.
And I've heard, like, that's it's almost like your parents are creating this image that you need to be this entity, right? And I've seen on social media, like, you should only be your person and not, try to live up to your parents' expectations. And I think that's a double-edged sword, because trying to live up to, in your case anyways, Luis, trying to live up to your father's standard, right, that he's set, and maybe he's not imposing it on you, but you've at least looked at it and said, that's a standard I'm willing to attain and exceed. It's made you a better person. You know what I mean? And you've taken that and made yourself successful, that much more successful.
So hey, you know what? Let me chime in here,
kudos.
because I agree with you, because I think we all emulate our parents, right? So I said the same
Absolutely.
thing. You guys have been to my parents' house.
Mhm.
I enjoy their house. I grew up there since '96, and they have it dialed in. They have the same back patio, kind of like you have, Luis. Things like that. It's a very nice, comfortable place. I'm like, fuck. I mean, shit. I helped build it. When I was hungover, being 21 through 25, helping my dad do all the landscaping and stuff and pull everything apart. But they bought that house in like '96, man, for like $300,000, right? And it's
Yeah.
worth over $1 million now because of the location and
Absolutely.
whatnot. And it's just a daunting task because I hold myself to that standard. I'm like, there's no why can't I get a house? Why can't I do this? I mean, growing up right now, dude, it fucking sucks. Everything's expensive. Like we're getting pushed out, just like what you said, Luis. You had to move out of the Bay Area in order to get your house. So I take that into consideration for when I do. What keeps me motivated is I know I had to be smarter with my money and not just save money. I had to have my money start working for me.
Yep.
Hopefully later on in another episode we talk about, finances and things that we do. But I have
Great
different
point.
things. I have money invested in different things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I have to think outside the box in order that's what I have for success for me. And that's how I keep myself motivated is, hey, how can I do this? How can I be better to kind of get where my parents have been when they were my age and go from
Right.
there, because we have different challenges and shit. I mean, shit, we have
Totally
unprecedented
different
times,
times,
right? Yeah,
right? But Johnny,
unprecedented.
that's a great motivational goal. Get a house. My parents bought their house for 150 grand over 30 years ago. They
Gorgeous
were
house,
both
by the way.
teachers, right? The house is fucking amazing, and now it's selling for over $1 million. We do not have that luxury. Any of us in this time is, two teachers. You
Yeah.
can't get a house in the Bay Area. My parents were lucky,
Right.
and but that's motivation. But they also taught and instilled me work hard, be honest, and the things that your parents teach you help you. I mean, sometimes it gives you motivation, but little things like that show your character in the good times and the bad times, because staying motivated during this COVID shit has not been easy for me.
No,
How so? Why do you say that?
Hold on, Johnny. That's a great point, Chris and Johnny. I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, flipping the other side of the coin, right? You brought up COVID. COVID has been a very challenging time for a lot of people, right? It's no secret. A lot of people have been struggling during this time. I'm one of the biggest fucking people to struggle on a personal level. I've fallen into a pretty bad complacency. I've gained like 25 pounds during COVID, and I've really lost a lot of motivation to kind of push through. There was a lot of things that I was doing pre-COVID, like playing softball. I
Such
had
a
my
terrible
daughter.
team.
Yeah, but it was still getting me out there, getting me active.
You're still out there.
I was taking my daughter out, to practices, for her own softball thing, and all that stuff is gone. And I've just kind of called it. I get home, from work, and I'm not really doing anything. I've noticed that I've become very complacent in what I'm doing. So, Xavier, have you fallen into that kind of complacency? If you have, tell me a little bit about it, and tell me what kind of things do you look for, or do you try to do to get yourself out of that?
I mean, I'm just gonna be real. I was complacent before COVID, and COVID just kind of reinforced my complacency. So, in terms of like self-care, you know what I mean? Like career-wise, I'm always motivated to kick ass, just because if that's one thing that I cannot sleep on ever, because it pays the bills, it puts food on the table and a roof over my head, and all the other um, vast amounts of things that we need money for. So that's the one thing I've told myself to never slack on, and that, to Chris's point, has been instilled in me by my parents. My dad, he was a construction worker for most of his life. Bridge builder. I mean, all he knew was hard work. My mom, hard work. So if it's just in my blood, it's kind of what it is. But to your question, Luis, I mean, the COVID thing kind of just increased my complacency of being lazy in terms of self-care. And recently, over the last few months, I'd say in the summer, things kind of changed for me. Like the COVID first wave hit, and we all were like locked down, and
The
everybody's
Tiger King era.
Tiger King era, bro. I
Yeah.
was smoking a shit ton of weed and playing video games non-fucking stop. It
Oh,
was
that's
super
the
slow,
life, man.
and it was great, right? But then like 2 months rolls by, 3 months, you've been fucking just taking mad bong rips and playing video games for like damn near 65 days in a row, and it's like,
And it happens like that, right? One day
Bro.
leads to the
And then it's
two,
just,
then it's
yeah.
3 weeks, and it's 4 weeks. I know, I feel you, man. I'm kind of in that stage right now. I mean, I've been in it for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I'm happy that we kind of picked up golf and stuff, because that's definitely helped me at least
That is
get moving
fucking
around.
fun. I enjoy that.
Johnny,
That-
going to you. Go ahead, man. Have you felt any complacency, especially during this COVID times? What are you doing to help you on a personal level, on a self mental level? Like, how are you dealing with complacency, or getting out of complacency?
Um, I'm glad you asked, man. I have 23 technicians, I think maybe 10 office employees, including service advisors, that are relying on me to keep my business running. If I'm complacent, people lose their fucking jobs, man. I'm essential, but I can't force customers to come in and work on their cars. Who has extra money to go around right now when, we're in lockdown and times are tough? No one wants to come in and spend hella money on their car. People barely want to do oil changes, right? I mean,
Right.
I have to make sure I'm drumming business out there. I'm going the extra mile at work, go driving to customers' houses to pick up their vehicles to bring them back because they're too afraid to come in because of COVID-19. So that's something that I've done personally. I my motivation is at work is to not fire anybody and not lay anybody off due to COVID-19, because I've hand selected my team, and I think I have a fairly decent team. If you guys are watching, thank you. I know you're not though. But yeah, I mean that's it. I mean that's my motivation, not to become complacent, because I can just sit down and ride the storm out. I mean, my life would be a whole lot easier if I laid off a handful of people and said, "Hey, well, it's fine. I'll lay these guys off and line my
Johnny, did
pockets. I'll
you
be
have to
fine."
make those decisions? Did it come to that? Did they come to you like, hey, we want you to, from higher ups, to have to
Yeah,
lay people off?
yeah. They're like, "Hey, we need to do more with less. People aren't coming in. What are you gonna do?" I was like, "Oh shit!" They're all, "By the way, we need you to increase 17% year over year." I'm like, "Wait, what? Holy shit!" And they're, "Yeah, do more
That,
with less." And because my store is one of the more um, higher performing stores, are like, "Hey, you know what?" In the company, they're like, "Hey, other stores aren't really doing so well, so we're relying on you to kind of knock it out of the park a little bit more." I'm just like, Jesus, that's a lot of pressure on
That's
Luis and
great. You
I.
stood up for your people, though.
I mean, you
no, it
have
is.
to,
It's great.
and that's how you build a good following. I mean, I it people people want to work for me without tooting my horn. I think they more want to work with Luis, not this Luis, but
No,
my
I want to
boss
work.
they like
Luis.
to
I
work for
want to
me
work
too.
with our Luis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they want to work for my other boss. I have to be
you'd
the
have a
bad guy
great
at
time.
work sometimes, but I'm the necessary evil. I'm not gonna fire someone just because, hey, I want to save a percent on gross profit or
Right.
profitability. You know what I mean? I'm
No,
gonna
that's a
do what
great
I
point.
can to work my measurables and my operation stuff to make sure, hey, not everyone's going to get overtime now. Hey, make sure you're clocking out on time. Make sure you're doing this, and don't hit your fifth hour. Don't do stuff like that. Maximize every ticket that comes in. Follow
Right.
the rules. Do the
Hey,
things that
we
you're
don't
supposed to
keep
be
y'all,
doing.
but y'all need to be as productive as possible because they wanted to get rid of y'all, so y'all need to step your shit up too,
F and
right?
A, it would
I
have been a
think
Yeah,
whole
as
lot
that's
easier.
managers,
that's
though,
great motivation for them too, right?
as
You would
managers,
think.
though, it's kind of your responsibility is to stick
Agreed.
up for your team,
Agreed.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we all face that this year is, how are we going to save headcount in light of, the fiduciary restraints that we're facing, this year because of COVID. So it kind of was testing everybody, even if you were like a budding manager with direct reports, this is like a real life experience that people in MBA classes are trying to learn, and we're doing a real life experience, real life experiment with it. So um, just a crazy time, crazy time.
Good point.
So
Good point. Go ahead,
my
Chris.
my whole thing with this and this whole COVID and struggling. I've struggled during COVID. As y'all know, I'm in construction. I sell HVAC. Construction 1 week after everything went down, my stuff was back up and running. Construction was going right after. So it was never since pretty much day one, it's always been going exactly how my work has always gone.
Well, Chris, and
And
I know you had mentioned previously that you had one of your best quarters here recently,
I
right?
did. I did. I did. And so I think there was some complacency because I'm up to a higher spot now, right? Like
Right.
when we were all lower, and we're all at a pretty good spot, right? Like
Right.
it's so much easier to grind when you're at the bottom to get to the top.
Dude, that's 100% true. Chris, I think that's a pretty good point, dude. I'll let you go on. I just want to call you. It's easy, right? You know, when you're at the bottom to keep moving up, but how do you keep going when you're on top?
It's easy to grind when hey, this is all I got. Let me grind and get up to the top. And then once you reach this level, then what do? Then the complacency starts to set in, right? I've been grinding my job for 10 years, you know, and getting to the spot where I'm at, where I'm making good money, you know, I'm good. Where's the extra motivation to keep going?
Yeah, when do you ask what's next, or what is the next challenge, or what are you trying to strive for now? Like for you, Chris, you like you just mentioned, you've been doing a hell of a job for the better part of a decade. What is next for you? What is your next goal? What are you striving for next?
Ooh, that was deep. You went deep in that one. What are you striving for? Deep.
No, I was asked this before by somebody else. Hey, what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to be the VP, but how my company is set up, like the VP was the dude who was in, my position for, 30 years, right? Like I'm at the position where I can make a lot of money, but it's a grind. It's stressful. It's, I'm freaking I go to bed at night thinking about the shit that I got to do. And COVID starts and I'm freaking, like shit is all back, everything is back on that I'm doing. And hey, got a bunch of buddies who are fucking chilling at home. You guys weren't like that. You guys were working, but it's crazy ass freaking times and shit's still as stressful as it normally is. And I still got a ton of jobs going. My guys are still going. And I kind of went into this like, what the fuck? The world is in a fucking pandemic. Why the hell am I grinding so freaking hard? And why am I working so hard with all this shit and still stressing out like a motherfucker? And so I started to slack on my responsibilities working from home. I started getting like, what the fuck, man? People ain't doing shit. It's lunchtime. I'm at home. I'm gonna go freaking pour myself a drink.
Hey.
Like everybody
Oh no.
watching this already know. And yeah, sorry, X. It's not a secret. I do.
Hey, Chris, you cut out at the right time. Just want you to know that.
We don't know what the secret is.
Yeah, we don't know what the secret is, dude. It's funny. Here's
Yeah, it's like on cue, dude. You went to the secret and it just fucking cut off.
We don't know what the secret is.
Which is great.
those were the Saints, or that was the Saints watching over you, bro.
Wow.
So,
time.
Chris, that's you brought a lot of great insight. I think, and we're gonna go around the horn and just kind of end it here. But I think my biggest takeaway and the one thing that kind of continued to resonate as we had this conversation was that. For those of you guys watching us, you got to get yourself a group of guys or people around you that are going to grind as hard as you are, and they're going to keep pushing you to try to keep up, because that's what I do. Every time I get complacent, even though I've been a fat piece of shit these last couple of months, I look at Xavier, I look at Johnny, I look at Chris, and I'm like, fuck, man, I got to get my ass off of this fucking couch. I got to get my ass off this bed. I'm not gonna fucking lose to Johnny again in golf. That's an embarrassment.
0-2.
0-1. And so yeah, for those of you guys watching us,
twice?
No, he's talking about best ball. That doesn't count. Chris carried him.
That doesn't count. I remember someone wearing a dumb bitch hat.
In teams, best ball counts. So. But
So,
straight up, you were 1-0.
Yeah.
He pay this man his money. He beat me straight up.
Johnny, since you like to hear yourself talk, go ahead and continue. What are your takeaways from today's episode?
I'm glad you asked me, Luis.
Well,
hey,
I'm glad you asked.
For those of you guys keeping track at home, you guys need to take about 5 shots if you guys are playing the Glad You Asked drinking game.
So My takeaways, or I was told by someone, it was Paulin who told me, if you're watching, Paulin, thank you, that you are the median of the people you hang out with, right? So you can have your super stoner friends, you can have your super business friends, and you are the person who is right in the middle. So if you surround yourself with a bunch of hardworking people, sometimes you'll have, your other buddies that you just want to fool around with and, have fun. You are the middle person of whomever you hang out with. So I try to surround myself, just like what you said, Luis, with other people who are like-minded and do the same thing. So actually, Corey taught me this too. He said, hey, next time we have like a big meeting for Target, there's executives around, there's this and that. I think I've mentioned this before. He's like, hey, dude, he's like, why are you hanging out with the other undercovers? I'm like, well,
Yeah, it's
because,
probably in a lost episode.
yeah, he's like, why are you hanging out with those guys? I'm like, oh, they're my buddies. He's like, you want to be over there with them forever? He's like, why don't you go meet other executives? Why don't you meet people higher up than you? I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn, this guy's dropping knowledge. So that's when I realized it too. Whenever there's business meetings or gatherings, I try to hang out and meet people in a higher level than me. That way I get my name out there and do stuff like that. But
But
I
they
mean,
keep
point.
you motivated
Good
too,
point.
right?
yeah, I'm like, hey, that's where I want to be
great
at.
point,
I
Johnny.
want to be there
It's a
someday.
great point.
Yeah.
Be with good people to help keep you motivated with it.
Take it away, Chris. What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts. Look, man, it's very easy to get complacent, and sometimes you need a hard time to kick yourself in the ass, to fucking kick yourself in the ass, to be like, look, you need to fucking do better. I mean, I had that during this. I mean, a customer that I respected, highly looked up to, I had fucked up on some of his shit because I was being complacent and I wasn't working as hard as I normally do, and grinding like I normally do, and I had to own up to it. And I didn't do it right away. I was kind of a bitch about it.
No one wants to be wrong. I get it, right?
No one wants to be wrong or admit that, hey, you fucked up on, on something big. But I stressed out for a whole weekend about it. And then I finally sat down and said, what type of person are you? And what are you gonna do about this? And I said, all I can do is my best, and all I can do is be honest with the people that I care about, whether it's through work or personal, and be honest with them and tell them what happened. Hey, I fucked up. I didn't order this. I didn't do this. There was the hardest conversation leading into it because you always think about the worst things that can happen, but talking to him and getting this relief off of me and the stress was huge. It then let that, okay, I can now kick ass. This stress is off of my back. This weight is off of my back. Let's go kick ass now. Let's not let this shit happen again. I fucked up. I don't want to be in that situation again. That
That's
was
great,
my
Chris.
motivation to freaking keep grinding, being honest with everybody, working hard, because I don't want to feel that again.
No, that's great, man. That's a great point. Great self-reflection and great accountability. Accountability is one of those things where not a lot of people have it, but those that do, you know,
Tend to succeed.
there you go. Thank you. Now, Xavier, take it away.
I don't know, man. I just feel like one of the you guys were talking about it earlier was when you guys are starting from the bottom and you're hungry and you're broke and you got nothing, it's easy to climb to the top. It sucks.
It's a grind,
It's
yeah.
easy to climb to the top because you get to a point where you're like, I ain't trying to live like this anymore. I ain't trying to have no gas in my car. I ain't trying to have be broke or have no money for lunch or eat fucking cup of noodles 10 times in a row.
I could do that, man. I love cup of noodles.
With
Shout out.
bologna sandwiches.
Johnny, you like to eat 5 different things, okay? Maybe 4. So,
and I enjoy them all.
So, hold on, guys. Continue, Xavier.
No, it's all good.
You were getting
saying,
deep.
Well, not really, but it's just like you guys say, but then you get to a point where you're comfortable, right? Because that's what you try to achieve. You're like, all right, cool. Now I got gas in my tank. I can eat whatever the fuck I want. I got money in my pocket. I'm cool. That is actually the worst place you could be in.
Yep.
because then your dreams start to die, your vision starts to die because you've already met where you were trying to be when you were 19, 18, 17 years old and you were broke as fuck and didn't have nothing. Then you're there now. So, what is it that gets you over the hump, and that's just then it becomes a mental battle. You have to be hungry in your mind so that you can elevate yourself and push yourself. And I think one of the things everybody says it's a bad idea to use your ego, but for me it's the ego, right? Like you're competing against yourself at all times. Like Johnny's talking about his metrics and talking about himself and his self-motivation. Chris, you've got to meet you're your own dude at work. So you got to beat yourself constantly, you know what I mean? And that's tough to do in the environment that we're in. So, you know what I mean? It's just like for those out there that are listening, I mean, once you get to that point where you're comfortable, you gotta push past that. You gotta keep burning. You gotta keep feeling that pain.
Keep grinding.
And stay hungry and keep going.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? I should have mentioned this earlier when you asked me. A thing that keeps me going too is tax season. So when you guys do your taxes, when I give all the information to H&R Block, I'm like, did I make more money than I did last year? Am I better? I mean, when I first moved over from where I was at over at BMW to where I'm at now, the first year I made less, and I was like, oh, and it sucked because I was like, dude, I want to do better. And so I started pushing more, but it was bound to happen because I had to take a step back because our building was a mess. But that's what pushes me too. Every tax season around April when I do my tax, I'm like, hey, did I do better? With the exception of maybe a year and a half ago.
Johnny, do you get bonuses at your work based off of how much stuff gets sold?
Yeah, I get to keep my job.
Okay.
That's a good measuring stick, Johnny, but I also want to make sure that everybody understands like monetary gain isn't the only way to measure success. Right. And there are times where you will take a step back, but you will grow as a person. So Johnny, like, yeah, you may have taken a little less money at BMW, but you gained a daughter. You gained, a family. You know what I mean? So you grew in other ways, and that is a measurement of success too.
Exactly. Like we've talked about it throughout this whole thing. And there's personal and then there's professional, right?
Right.
Through this whole thing. How have you gained or stayed motivated in both of those aspects? And that's what we have. You got personal and you got professional. You come from you work hard at work and then you come home. What the fuck do? You just sit on the fucking couch and fucking watch TV?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm fucking worn out.
Smoke a bunch of weed. Yes, I did.
I play with Scarlett and Hazel. I'm like, please. I was like, let's play the lay down game. It's like, Daddy's tired.
Right.
Hey, let's play the quiet game.
Hey, dude, let's play Doctor A. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I need to sleep.
I need 9 nights. Okay.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, great, man. Great stuff.
Man. I appreciate you guys sitting down and joining with me today. I think this is great.
You did a great job.
You did do a good job, Luis.
You did.
I appreciate it. But those of you guys, remember, 28 likes. Hit that like button. Get me to 28, so I get to have some bragging rights over these guys.
Please give him some bragging rights. Hey, it was Luis's first time hosting a show. I think he did a very good job. So
can I end with one quote that I like, and I think
absolutely.
Just to fucking stay motivated.
Sure, I'm just gonna edit it out later, but go ahead
with it.
Yeah, fuck you, Johnny. Let's see your fucking areolas again. Put a smile on my face. Yeah. My guy.
Go ahead. Hit us.
Remember where you came from, but never forget where you're going. Never forget where you're going. Have goals to be higher up and always do better than where you're at.
It's great.
I can dig it.
Yeah, no, that's
I can
great.
dig it. Like, subscribe, comment.
Comment. Do we fucking even get
Somebody
any
commented. Hey, somebody commented on you, Chris.
Why don't you say something? I want to look it up. Hold on.
Well, Chris, he's talking about you, Chris. So you need to.
They pinged you.
No, I'm doing it. I'm looking it up right now. What episode? I'm curious. The recent one,
the most recent one. Yeah.
Well, look, I had a girl. I mean, I don't fuck with her no more, but she was commenting all the time. I don't.
No, our dude Lunker Dunker Bates.
Yeah,
this guy is always.
He's one of the fives. Yeah, he's one of the fives.
He is legit. So, bro, if you're watching, thank you, dude. We appreciate you. I know you're always like, you coming in, you're watching. I know not everything is awesome, but we appreciate you leaving a comment in there and giving a thoughtful response back. I saw that comment. The boys are going to go in there and look now. I mean, they always look. I know that they do, but everyone's super busy, so I know we don't get a chance to reply back to everything. But I'll tell you right now,
I didn't even see him. Lunker Dunker, I know exactly who you are. Thank you. He actually gives me some advice for some of the episodes that we do, so I appreciate the feedback. And yeah, we'll reply to you here in a moment.
This is the first time he's shouting you out, so
No.
all right,
Lunker
man.
Dunker.
We see you,
How's
brother.
that? See what happens when y'all comment?
We see you, brother. We see you. We're giving you a shout out, Lunker Dunker.
I guess I need to look at that shit.
Check him out. He's got a YouTube channel too, so check him out.
All right.
Yeah, awesome.
Good shit, guys.
Yeah, boys.
All right.
Finger up.
That's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Hey, remember what Luis said? We want about 28 likes. Luis wants to win this little bet. He wants to win one against me for once. So hey, thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week.
3, 2, 1's your cue to go, homie.